Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do some garden work. First off, I believe that we have a bunch of seeds that we can start outside. There are some seeds that we have to start indoors, like tomatoes, but I need to get more soil for that, so I'm going to have to pop over to the store soon. But first, I want to do the stuff that I can do right now. So, I'm already hardening off the onions. Today is the second day, so they're going to be out for like 2 to 3 hours. I'm not even sure when I took it out, but I'm going to have to bring it in soon. But I can start carrots and parsley and certain zucchinis and squashes, lettuces and radish. So we're going to start that. We're going to uncover the garlic because they've been covered because the chickens were in our garden until now. But once we come back inside and I have the soil, we can start a bunch of tomatoes along with kale, broccoli, cauliflower, loofah, dahlia, and basil. So there's going to be lots of seeds starting today. I fertilized my plants yesterday. What else? That's it. It's a few more days until I can plant a few more things outside. Yeah, so the end of this week I'll be able to plant a bunch more things outside. So I'll bring you guys along for that for another video. But for today, let me first grab the seeds that we're going to start today. April 5th. April 5th. Okay, so I see here that I have, actually, I miscalculated. So the next batch of things to be direct sown will be outdoors. Obviously, direct sown is outdoors, but that will be in May. So we have over a month for that. But over here I have a bunch of seeds that, if you were here with me when we sorted all these out, some that I'm going to direct sow once, and then I have a bunch that are going to be direct sown, and we're going to keep resowing them so that I can have a continuous harvest. So I think we're going to go out first to the garden and seed these. I want to get this done as soon as possible because it's supposed to rain later. So it would be perfect so that I don't have to water them in. And if it doesn't rain, then I'll go out later tonight and water these. We're going to uncover the garlic, like I said. And then we're going to head to the store, get some soil, and we'll be able to come back here and start some more seeds. Okay, guys, so we're out in the garden. Took me a few minutes to collect everything that we needed. But you can see over here the garlic is sprouting. So we have to pick this up because, as you can see, they're bending over instead of coming out. And the ones that did come out, the chickens have been pecking at it. Because our chickens had access to the garden the entire winter. What we did was we have our chicken coop right here. And we created a tunnel. You can see the chickens are over there. They're trying to come in. Girls, you're not coming into the garden now. Forget it. Not until the fall. So one of the things is that they dug a bunch of holes in the beds. So we're going to have to come around and refill it. Luckily, we still have some compost. Like, all this is from them flicking the soil out of the beds. We'll have to refill it. Luckily, we have some soil from the fall when we refilled our beds. So hopefully that's enough. If not, we'll have to get another delivery. Oh, wow, the sage is coming back here. Wow. Okay. I'm going to have to note that on my planner and change things accordingly. So yeah, let me put you guys down, and hopefully the beds that I'm planting in have enough soil so that I can actually start the things that I need to start. So I think first thing we're going to do is uncover this. I'm gonna actually save these staples because I want to use them for my labels. So as you can see, all the soil over here on top of the mesh is from the chickens. In the fall, when we planted the garlic, we had just put in the staples to keep the mesh down. That was not enough, so you can see that as I'm pulling it, it was stapled to the wood as well. In most areas, it was okay, but the end of this bed, it kept, when the chickens were in there, they kept pushing the mesh away. So it wasn't always 100% covered, but I managed to get this off, and we're gonna move on to the next bed. Got quite a few staples that we can use. Okay, now we can do the same thing for both of these beds. Just take off the mesh and let the garlic grow. As you can see in the bed that I'm working on right now, that we have two different mesh down to cover the garlic. In the back of the bed and on the bed to the left, I have a hardware cloth, which I had laying around from building the chicken coop. And I thought that I'll have enough to use that for the entire bed, for all of the garlic, sorry, because I figured that that's better, that once it starts growing, it has bigger enough holes where the greenery can come out, which you can see it with some of it, it did happen. I didn't have enough, so what I did was that the remaining garlic I covered in the fabric netting that I had from having the brassicas covered for the growing season. So the fabric, as you can see, it was stapled down with into the wood, the garden staples, and with clamps to keep the mesh down. Chickens are yelling at me. They want to come in here. Not happening. Since this bed has a mixture of both, the end of the wire mesh was the end of the roll. So the netting that I'm removing first got stuck in it. So I have to work hard to like separate it because it was stuck in itself, which was good because it protected the bed better. But it was a little bit hard to work with because I didn't want to poke myself, which in hindsight I probably should have worn gloves when I did this. But it didn't feel like a glove kind of work. So I managed to get off the entire mesh, the fabric mesh, and we're going to get to the hardware cloth next, which will be a lot simpler to remove. So I had initially planned to only use this for it so that they can come through as they're starting to grow. Unfortunately, we didn't have enough. That's why we had to use the other mesh to fill it up. Ooh, doing the work for me. I just want to get the staples out. And if only you would have rolled up the right way, it would have been better. As you can see, the hardware cloth was held down mostly by just the garden staples. In some areas, we wanted to make sure that it stays down for the entire windy winter that we had. So we stapled it into the wood as well. But because the hardware cloth is stiff, it was a lot easier to pull it out as I was pulling the mesh. So that was pretty simple work. Okay, so this bed looks thirsty. So we're gonna have to come out and water it. Oh no, I tore off some of the greenery and I'm hoping that these garlics recover and it's okay that the chickens pecked at it. Otherwise, we'll know for next year that they can't be in here. Once it starts getting a little bit nicer, they cannot be in the garden. But we'll have to see how it does this year. I left one by the end over there to hold the entire thing down so it doesn't roll off on me like the other bed did. And I'm pulling these out, the sprinkler head, so that they don't get stuck on it either. Let me take out that one. And I see that in some areas we had stapled them down as well. And I see some weeds popping up. So I might as well pull them up as I'm doing this. This bed was fairly simple to get the mesh off. This is the way to go. Going forward, I'm going to try to make sure that I have this for every bed. And once it's cut for the size, I can reuse it every year. Oh, it's so nice to see all this green growth. And some of them are actually quite tall. I'm hoping now that they'll reach up for the sun and they'll be able to. And they'll grow nicely. Wow. Looks like I got almost 100% germination. See one over here that's not. That one doesn't look like it. I see a weed. So it could be it's still gonna sprout, but I see that one's iffy. I don't know if it is or it's not. Got one over here, one over there. That's two. I think this bed, we've got three that didn't germinate so far. I'm pulling up all the weeds that I see because those are from the stuff that I've fallen from the trees and they want to grow another tree. I don't want that. Okay, now let's see this one. This one looks like everything germinated. Wow. That's amazing. Okay. Let me actually get all the sprinkler heads into the bed. Got some staples down here too. Still have to do a proper clean up in this garden. We didn't really do a very good one in the fall. Let's do the same thing for this one. Okay. So I'm going to sit down here now. I'm going to reference which beds we're going to be planting in right now. So I went to grab my seed packets because I'm not sure which seeds we have out here today. So I'm just going to reference them quickly. This way. Okay, so now that I know what we're planting, so let's see. So this bed has garlic, and we're going to have green beans going up on the trellis. This one has garlic, and that's it. That last bed is going to have peppers against the back. Sorry, no. I'm looking at it wrong. Yeah. Oh, I am looking at it good. So we're going to have peppers going up on the trellises. Let me show you. So I don't know if you can see by the strings hanging in the wind, swaying in the wind. That's our trellis that we used last year. So we're going to have tomatoes over there. In between the tomatoes, we're going to have butternut squash and spaghetti squash, which is too early for that. In the middle of the bed, we're going to have onions, and those we are hardening off right now. And then coming into the aisle, we're going to have a bunch of peppers and celery and stuff like that. I did mark that I had parsley and rosemary in here, but I have a feeling that my chicken just pecked at it all the way. Yeah, the rosemary looks like it's gone. Doesn't look like there's anything here. And I don't see anything green coming up in this bed. This is definitely not something that I want in here. Yeah, there's nothing here. So we're going to fill it up with onions. And if there's extra space here, then we're going to fill it in with some fresh parsley. Oh, where did the host for this go? Okay. So we're not planting anything in this row right now. So let's move up another row where you guys are at. And to the right, we're gonna have cherry tomatoes and ghost peppers and eggplant, celery, bunch of peppers, green beans on the trellis, and dahlias. The bed to your left will have, oh, carrots and cucumbers, not yet. Carrots and lettuce, we can start right now. Carrots and lettuce, amazing. And we can start radishes. And I have space for more lettuce. Okay. So we're gonna get going. This bed. Oh, just lost the head. Gonna have to see if I can find the piece. Otherwise I might have to swap out this entire sprinkler. Like it's missing this blue and green part. Okay. So the chickens did dig in here. That's not too bad. This we had dill here. And I think I'm gonna bring something so that I can level this out a bit easier than if I would try to do it with my hand. It's actually starting to drizzle right now as I'm coming back with my rake. I'm gonna put the seeds into my pocket so that it doesn't get wet. Well, let's get to work. So we're gonna level this out a little bit. Everything in this life is a learning curve. So what I learned over here is that I shouldn't be putting the sprinkler heads in before I level it. It was in the way, and it would have been a lot easier to do it without it being in there. Okay, that looks a lot better. I see this weather's going to be very temperamental with me. I'm sweaty, but the drizzle stopped. I don't know what's going on. So we're going to go right at the edge here. And we're going to start from 1.5 feet from the edge, because over here we're going to add another arch trellis. We're going to have loofah growing on here. And we're going to, so that needs 1.5 feet. So over here, going all the way down, we're going to have carrots. So I know that I have a few different varieties of carrots over here. Let me find them. Carrot. I have 2 types. Yeah, 2 types. So I'm going to start with a variety that I grew last year. At this end, I'm going to work my way up, and then my second variety will finish off and go down the other side of the bed. So this needs to be gently press scattered seeds into loosened soil. Okay. How about this one? Gently press scattered seeds into loosened soil. I'm going to put my carrot seeds in the other pocket. But it says space plants 2 to 3 inches apart. So instead of having to thin it later on, I am going to just place it like a few seeds every 2 to 3 inches. And that's what I'm doing, going down the entire length of the bed with my yardstick. Every 2 to 3 inches, I dropped a few seeds. And once they germinate is when I'll thin them out so that if more than one seed sprouted, I, sh- I should only have one carrot growing instead of a few of them trying to compete for the same space to be able to grow. When I got to the end of the bed, I just had a few more seeds left in my hand and there was nothing left in the packet. So I decided I'll just sprinkle it into the bed and whatever happens, happens. Okay, so I used up the entire bag. How do I have more? Thought I put all of them in my pocket. So for my labeling system, I figured I'm gonna do just some masking tape, write on it the variety, and just stake it down with a staple. So let me write down what this is. When I'm done writing what it is, I tear off that piece of masking tape and I folded the ends in, which maybe I shouldn't have done because actually it doesn't matter. Okay, now I wrote the variety that it is and I made an arrow going both ways to show that it is going the entire side of the bed. I'm going to put it down here and stake it. And we'll see how this holds up. What I'm going to do as well is that in here, I'm going to write down the variety that I did in case if that comes off, I should know. And I'm going to write down the variety that I'm going to put on the other side now so that I don't have to do it later. I'm going to prepare the label for it as well. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Every 3 inches, right at the edge. So one of the reasons why you want to do carrots at the edge is to encourage the carrot to go down, to get the moisture. And by the edge, will dry out faster than in the middle of the bed. And like that, you get longer carrots. So I have plenty to be able to succession sow in the fall if I want to. Now let me put down the marking. I forgot to do the arrow on this one. It's okay. So now that I have all the carrots in, the plan was to do, okay, so we're gonna have loofah at that end on a trellis. We're gonna have cucumber on this end on the trellis. We're gonna have some peppers and marigolds and dill in the center. So between the carrots and the peppers, we can put some lettuce on the bottom. And what's gonna happen is that once the peppers are in and they're growing, it's gonna shadow out the lettuce, and the lettuce will hopefully grow into the summer as well. But we got a bunch of different varieties of lettuce, and I want to do succession sowing so that we constantly have. These chickens are so distracting with their yelling. Okay, so once we do the lettuce here, we can move on to the next row of beds because that is all that we're doing in this row here. So let me go through the lettuce and see which ones I want to plant over here. Okay, so we got 5 different varieties. So most of them are at least a minimum of 8 inches, except for one variety here that is every 3 to 6 inches. No, sorry, also 8. So I'm going to plant them every 8, even though it says to plant them closer and then thin them out. I will just do the 8. So, and it's raining again. We're going to go 6 inches out. I'll probably do it 9 inches. And we'll start the 1.5 feet from the end. Let's see, right over here. Okay. So I'm going to figure out how many inches I have from where I'm starting until where it's ending. I'm going to divide them so I have an equal amount of each. I don't know if that's the best choice, but that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so I can do 4 of each variety. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take 1 variety of lettuce. I'm going to put some seeds at every 8 inches. I'm just sprinkling a few of them in, pressing them in a little bit and covering it loosely. Now I'm going to write down this variety on here. And the tag is in. And I'm going to continue doing this for the rest of them. It felt so good to be outside working in the garden again. I've missed this so much, and I'm excited to be back. This was such an amazing day, like this perfect weather. It wasn't too hot, wasn't too cold, except for the wind and working around with the rain. Otherwise, it was the ideal day, and I'm so excited that I know that there's seeds in there waiting to germinate, and I'm really looking forward to those germinating and growing and harvesting these delicious vegetables. Okay, we're going to come out again in I guess 2 or 3 weeks, and we're going to plant the lettuce on the second side of the bed. And like that, we'll have a continuous succession of lettuce. Okay, so for our last 3 beds here, we are going to do, over here we're going to have onions on the edge, radishes, so we're going to start some radishes over here. In this bed over here, we're going to have basil right here on the edge, lettuce, the center will be a bunch of peppers. And we have more carrots. Oh my goodness, my chickens are out. Girls, how did you do that? Okay, I'm lucky I didn't have to run around the entire backyard to catch them. Oh, and here we come. The rain. Okay. Okay, all the seeds are in my pocket. So I think we're gonna call it for now. Unless it stops raining soon. I'm gonna come back out to do this side. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to come back out tomorrow. Okay, so it only rained for a little bit, so I'm back out here. Okay, so in here I said we're gonna do radishes. But this bed definitely needs to be filled up, especially that corner over there. So we're not gonna start on radishes yet over there, but I do plan on doing radishes in that bed over there as well. So I guess we'll start with radishes over there, and just like the lettuce, we're gonna succession sow. And then, okay, so that's the radishes. So I want to do more carrots on that side. And a zucchini at the end. So I think we'll start with the zucchini. We'll do the carrots. And then we'll do the radishes in the last bed. And zucchini I'm also going to succession sow so that we have them throughout the season, because zucchini tends to get infested with bugs. So I have 3 spots designated for it, so we'll be able to rotate them. Okay, the zucchini is going to go in this corner over here, but we need to level it out first. So I think it'll be easier to level out without the sprinkler heads in here. This one also lost the pressure compensating piece. Maybe I shouldn't keep them in here over the winter. Oh, let me see what I had planned for over there, where the sage is coming up. Oh, I want peppers there. Okay, we'll see how many peppers we have. So while I'm leveling it out, if there's any clumps of compost that didn't break down over the winter, I am breaking it up with a rake so that the soil could actually benefit from the compost instead of the compost working to break itself up to become useful. Okay, while I'm here with my rake, I am going to do it for the bed next door also. Now I can put the sprinkler heads back into the bed and then we'll get the seeds. Okay, so here in the corner, we're going to put a zucchini. So I'm going to put it at 9. It needs 1.5 feet. So I'm putting it 9 inches from the edge, from the corner, and we'll let it come out this way. And once it starts growing, I'm actually going to put a support over here. I did that last year, and it worked very good for us. We have to do it 1/2 inch deep. So, yeah. I'm going to put in, I'm going to need more. Okay. I'm going to put in 2 of them and cover it up. So now, along the edge over here, we're going to do the carrots just like we did in the other bed. So, we're going to start at the 1.5 inch mark. And we'll put carrots every 3 inches like we did before. I hope this will be enough for the length of the bed. If not, I have another packet. I just didn't bring it out with me now. So I finished the 1 pack of carrots. I got out my second one. So we're probably not going to be able to plant another succession unless I get more. Okay, so over here right now, we're going to plant radishes over here in a square. And over here we're going to have a watermelon coming out into the walkway. So we're going to leave the space here for later on in the season when we want to plant the watermelon. So the way I'm planting the radishes is, think of a square foot can fit a 6x6 grid of radishes. But I'm not planting in a full foot. I'm only doing 6 inches. So I'm doing 3 across, 3 up to create half a square foot of radishes. So I'm getting 3, 6, 9 radishes per square. And I'm doing 3 squares of this for each variety that I'm having. And by doing this, I'm creating a square around where the watermelon will be planted. So the radishes will surround the watermelon plant. Oh my goodness, the wind here was so insane. Did you see those seed packets flying away in the wind? That wasn't the only thing that flew. Our temporary chicken coop also moved from this wind. Thank God none of the chickens got hurt. But yeah, once I collected those seed packets again, I put them in the basket that I bought out. I put the packets under the garden staples that I have for the labels, and the weight of that kept the packet safe and it didn't fly away again. I think while I finish off this, I'm going to turn on the water for the first row because the beds itself just needs moisture. And with this on and off, I don't know if it's actually going to rain soon. It's actually good that I'm doing it because I saw one of the heads wasn't working properly. So I was able to fix that. I know in the beginning of this video, I told you guys that once we're done with the outside, we're going to go inside. We're going to start some more seeds. I'm going to go to the store, get some more soil. In the end, when I finished outside, was time to cook dinner. And I got busy with that. But I figured that I can still start seeds later in the day also. I can start it at night also. But while I was cooking dinner, my oven actually had a fire inside. And dinner was done. I had to buy dinner in the end, which is a very rare occasion for us. We usually have home cooked almost every single night. I shouldn't say almost, because 99% of the nights we have homemade dinner. And I had a major mess to clean up. Oh my goodness. The fire extinguisher, like dust or whatever it is, powder, was all over my kitchen. Oh my goodness. Everything had to be wiped down from top to bottom. So that's where my night ended up going. So I'm going to show you the last few things that I did here, and this will be it for this video. Okay, so now the last thing we're going to do out here, sorry you guys can't even see me. So the last thing we're going to do out here is we're going to fertilize the garlic. So I filled up this watering can with water, and over here I'm opening up my fertilizer. This is the one that I'm using. I'm going to pour a little bit in here. I should have probably put in the fertilizer first so it can mix as it's pouring in the water. And I see some of the sprinkler heads on the second row aren't working. And what we're going to do is we're just going to sprinkle some of this fertilizer water over the entire bed. I should probably do it from the other way because the wind is blowing towards me. Well, it seems like this sprinkler didn't really work. So it's actually easiest to get it to work when it's running through, when the water is running through that specific sprinkler head. So this one I'll have to fix next time I have it running. And then I found some other sprinkler heads in the other beds that needed to be fixed. So I had to do that off camera because I needed both my hands. So this will be it for today's video. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch this. If you liked it, consider hitting the like and subscribe button. And I hope to see you in a future video and you'll get to see what this is all looking like, all grown out.